Hello viewers, welcome to Candid Conversations with Ganesh Kuppala. First of all, thank you so much for overwhelming response that you have given to this series. As you heard me speaking to a lot of politicians and influential Indians, I today proudly bringing one more influential Indian in UK. We have Yash Rangineni with us. A lot of you sitting in South Indian region probably know him by face. He's one of the famous film producers out there. But he's based in London, but did a lot of work in the Indian cinema. So just adding a bit more flavor to our show, I'm actually bringing up entertainment people into the show as well now. So we have Yash Rangineni ji with us. Thank you so much, Yash, for giving your time to us today and to inspire a lot of young people to come into your field of work. So to start with, Yash, if you could please give us a quick background of where are you from, how did you start your journey, how did you land into London, and how did you go back to India to make movies and also a quick introduction will be very helpful.
Thank you, Ganesh, first of all. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you today. And I'm not quite sure, the grand introduction you gave as an influential Indian, first of all, whether I'm eligible for that.
You are,
I'm not quite sure, but I'm privileged and honored to be here with you to share my experiences and how the whole journey has started personally for me and also in terms of how I entered movies. To start with, I came from a family in Mahbubnagar district, a small village called Rakon.
When did you actually realize, I know you have a great career as well. You're one of the directors in NHS.
NHS, yeah.
Yeah. So that's an amazing career. So, but apart from that, like when was the trigger that actually, again, I know you had it 30 years back, but when you picked up this movies as a career, not really career, but to produce a movie, it's a big deal. It's to deal with the commercials. It's a lot of money and a lot of effort, and especially sitting in London doing movies back home could have been a nightmare, as in, I don't know. It's a big deal. So
yeah.
How did that happen?
You're right in terms of, it's a very challenging thing, executing a project, sitting in London and then, delivering in India. It's not an easy thing. But to start with, how did I enter into movies? It's all because of Vijay Devarakonda. He's my nephew. So Vijay had, after he finished his degree, he was also trying to, break into the Telugu film industry. So at that time, we were all a little bit nervous because Vijay's father was also in film industry.
Yeah.
But he couldn't really break the ceiling because it was a very tough and very competitive field, particularly in Telugu, how it works. So we were concerned, but at that time Vijay just did a few films, and one of the films, Yavade Subramanyam, was a blockbuster hit with hero Nani. Vijay had a very important role in that film. So after that film, he was still trying, to get into the main role, lead roles. But he couldn't. He went around all the production houses and no one was really willing to offer him the big roles. But somehow he met director Tarun Bhaskar at that time. So they had this beautiful story, and then they were looking for a producer at the time. And so he rang me one day, Mama, which means uncle, obviously. Yeah. Mama, we have this beautiful story. You love films. I know, I'm trying my best here, but I'm unable to get a producer here. Would you mind? Would you be able to produce this film? It's a very small budget, team of young talent, and I'm sure you can afford it. Even if it goes wrong, I'm sure it's not going to, completely dent
you have the appetite. Yeah.
It's not going to dent because it's not a huge budget. Then I got excited because, that's the first option because, as you know...
Yeah, you had that always.
Exactly. And I thought this is a great thing, okay. Then I got introduced to Tarun Bhaskar, and then we had a long conversation. He narrated the story and I loved it. And that's when the Pelli Choopulu started.
Brilliant. I don't know whether I'm an influential Indian, but you heard him saying, guys, Pelli Choopulu is one of the biggest path breakers in Telugu cinema. And the Vijay Devarakonda today, everyone calls out as is actually his first biggest movie is Pelli Choopulu. And I do have to mention this, Yashji, you won national awards with the first movie. It's a big deal.
It was indeed. I mean, it's definitely a very inspiring story. Not for me personally, but a lot of people who are aspiring to be, filmmakers. In India, particularly, there are literally hundreds of people, youngsters with full of talent. They're unable to get into because there is so much goes on behind the scenes. The competition, the politics, and everything. But I was lucky enough to receive that national award for my first film as a producer, because definitely it was a path-breaking film at that time, with so many youngsters, first-timers, and such a good, story.
Very
inspiring story. Where a boy and a girl. Yeah. One guy is a very lazy, laid back, and the other is very ambitious and he wants to. It's totally against the norms. How our society.
How would a Telugu movie look like generally? Yeah.
Societal, the norms. That's where I think it really touched the hearts of millions of people in particularly in Telugu film industry, and Telugu audience really loved that film. So. Yeah, we produced that film under our banner, Big Ben Cinemas. That was the first film.
Reddy and the Vijay Devarakonda. So, do you want to? So, I know he's doing all this. You talk to him closely. Sorry, I know it's not a personal question to you, but I just wanted to understand from your end, because you're very close to Vijay. What's his take on all this recent big films that he made, like Liger, kinds of Ligers and all? I know Vijay. We have heard Vijay personally on a lot of talks and all. What kind of what is his take on this big numbers when they doesn't work? The reason I'm asking this question, Yashji, is because a lot of people will be disappointed if something doesn't work.
Yeah.
And with a kind of that scale, but Vijay came up so strong. Even yesterday he was talking on Family Star, tremendous. His confidence, his comeback. How does that work? I mean, you know him personally, so I just want to understand from you.
Vijay, a lot of people sometimes, they misunderstand Vijay's behavior on stage, particularly because of the attitude he
brings on to that.
Brings on to that. That's him. But Vijay, knowing him very personally, he's a very humble. With a lot of humility, a lot of respect for elders, everything. He doesn't have that arrogance.
So far.
Thank you so much indeed.
I always say this to you, and I think I did tell you before. The movies that you pick inspires me. But the reason I picked you for the influential Indian series as well, because a lot of great stuff came from your movies. Pelli Choopulu inspired tons, thousands of people. You can't imagine, Yashi. I don't know how many of you met personally, but I've met so many who came to me and said, if this movie wasn't made, I would have never thought about making movies. Yeah. And that's a big statement. It's not easy to break that ceiling. So that's one thing. And Dorasani is my all-time favorite. And I told Anand as well when I met him, and thank you for introducing me to Anand. It is actually one of the finest written movies. But maybe not for the right times, maybe, I don't know. But it's amazingly written story. And Mahendra was extraordinary.
Definitely.
On that. And Dear Comrade is one of the very, very, very interesting stories as well. And I think it could have made big numbers, but people didn't see that. But all this filmography that you made inspired a lot of people. That's what I'm trying to say. I loved the conversation because you brought in a lot of interesting topics. I'm sure a lot of people will hit your door now talking about that 40% discount on the budget. How
quite a few people know. I mean, those who are in the, they're trying to make films in.
They should know
it. They are aware, but I don't know how much they really looked into, explore that option, and see how they can make the film, bringing that possibility into the mix.
Connect with you.
But once again, truly appreciate for having me here, and I'm privileged and honor. Once again, I'm saying, I'm a very private person, but for you to introduce in such a grand way as an influential Indian, which I don't think, I feel a little bit nervous.
No, you are.
I feel, I don't know, for some reason, it's not that. But as long as if it helps this conversation with anyone, and I'm more than happy to be there again, you know, in any way. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, audience. So looking forward to see you back.